It's Christmas time, y'all. All over the world. And those who really know me know why I chose that selection. Because that's New Edition. And I'm a New Edition super fan. I am the eighth member. Did you know? And so y'all know last week when they released that New Edition was going on Legacy Tour. Y'all know I already got my ticket. So I encourage y'all. New Edition's coming to Louisville April 14th. Get those tickets. Buy those tickets in early. Because it's Christmas all over the world. Ask Santa Claus to buy it. So if you hear my voice, you know it's Real Talk with Tanya White. Last week, we did a Real Talk replay. I was on vacation. I'm back live, and we got some real talk about Louisville and Kentucky politics. And y'all know we got some political giants in the studio. We got Attica Scott. She just came in. We let her get settled. Shamika is on the way. But then we also have Catrina Hill. She is an author, and she has been feeding Louisville for decades with her delicious food. So she's going to call in just a few moments to discuss her new book, Catrina's Kitchen. But before we get started, I have some announcements. First, in national news, we are going to send out a huge congratulations and daily prayers for Harvard University's 30th school president and the first African-American president in its history, Claudine Gay. So if you are an African-American, especially if you're an African-American woman, you know the hurdles and the obstacles that she had to overcome to get that coveted position. And you know the hurdles and the obstacles she's going to have to endure to keep that position. So send your prayers to Claudine Gay. We are elated that you were chosen by God first to represent and lead Harvard University in its next era. Also, in local news, local events, I must say, next Tuesday, December 27th at 6 p.m., Gianami Books and More will host a Kwanzaa celebration at the Kentucky of African American Heritage Center. Vending booths are only $22, y'all. So if you want to sell and have a booth, call 502-876-0465. And also, earlier this month, I started out December birthday shouts because I'm a December baby. And I want to shout out all the December babies. And so, a happy birthday to all the people who celebrated last week. But this week coming up, we have Asia Ford, who is celebrating her special day on Christmas Day. So, Asia Ford, happy birthday. And to all the December babies celebrating birthdays this week. Y'all know my special day is New Year's Eve. So next week we're going to have a in-studio celebration. Right, Vinny? Right, Bob? I'll be waiting for my presents, okay? Also, today is Tanya Tuesday. After you hear me on Real Talk at 9 o'clock, you know I have the Go Get It with Tanya White podcast at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time on Envisioned Broadcasting, Envision, ENVISIONED, broadcasting.com. Today, we're talking about how to have healthy and whole communication. We have a magnificent guest, Marshall Fields, who calls himself the communication broker, and he kicks some wisdom on how to have healthy and whole communication. That is one of the things that breaks up many friendships, many relationships, because we don't know how to communicate. But we're gonna enlighten you today on the Go Get It with Tanya White podcast today at 12 noon on envisionedbroadcasting.com. Also, if you need a good short book on grief, my latest book, The Prayers of the Righteous in Grieving Availeth Much, is available online everywhere books are sold, which means Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com, Amazon. Get your copy. Get your friend a copy. It's a quick read. It's a powerful read, and it will help you deal with grief not only during the holidays, but throughout the entire year. Also, we know we are planning our New Year's goals. And one thing, I get a lot of emails and inboxes for people say, I'm ready to write my book. I'm ready to publish my book. So if you're really ready, I can assist you. My company, S&T Publishing, is ready and willing to help you. So text me at 502-836-9760 so we can schedule your discovery session and we can see how you can publish your book in 2023. Also, if you want to showcase your business and invest your marketing dollars in a great show, Real Talk with Tanya White is a great show to invest. So if you want to be a sponsor, or if you're an expert or professional, especially in the areas of mental health, mental disorders, money management, health and fitness, real estate, and entrepreneurship. We are looking to book you and so you can share your knowledge so we can be enlightened, have some real talk about those issues. So again, contact me at 502-836-9760. And that is all the announcements for today. Attica, you ready, girl?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
She's got her, look, Attica is ready. She has her, what's that, tripod?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Tripod to do live. And so we ready to have some real talk. Before we get started, as we waiting on our Catrina Hill to call, Attica, tell us a little bit. I know you are the superstar in not only Louisville, but Kentucky. But tell us who you are.
Yes, ma'am. So I am currently state representative for Kentucky House District 41.
That's right.
And but before all of that, right, and regardless of all of that, I am a child of God.
Yes, you are.
I am my parents' daughter. I am my children's mother.
That's right. And you are teaching your children to have a voice and make change in this world as well. And also, you just did a run for U.S. Congress.
Yes, ma'am. And let me tell you something. I was the only Democratic woman and the only Black woman to run for the U.S. House of Representatives anywhere in Kentucky.
Anywhere. And we're going to get into that.
Yes, ma'am.
About why we're in almost 2023 and why we're still the onlys. We're still the onlys in a lot. Right. I mean, Claudine Gay. She's
right.
She's example.
Harvard.
How
many years has Harvard been around?
How many years? And how many years have they gotten that diversity dollar? We're going to talk about that. We're going to have some real talk with Attica. And so, Attica, let's talk while we're waiting for Catrina. But as a woman, what gave you the courage? Because as women, we do not. They tell us to go into teaching.
Yes.
All the women.
Yes.
Quote unquote women professions. Mm-hmm. What gave you said no? I want to run for office. I want to be in politics. What was the drive for that?
Well, I studied political science. I have a political science degree, so I thought I'd go, work in somebody's administration somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And then, I grew up in the projects in Beecher Terrace.
Okay, no.
So there weren't any. Right. People who grew up in Beach Terrace who were in office. So I knew my people deserved a fighter who came from where they came from. And then some girlfriends, we were sitting around the table for months on end, talking about how nobody was representing us at local, state, or federal levels. And they said, we need to run.
We need to run.
And they looked at me and they said, so you're the first one we're going to put up. And we're going to put everything we have behind you so you can run.
How did that make you feel, said, okay, you are the one, because you said you grew up in Beecher Terrace, and you went to public school here.
Yes, I did. Proudly
went to public school, and I know during that time, they encouraged you to do, be whatever you wanted to be. But when you said no, I want to run for office, they probably they look at you and say, you really think so?
Oh, yeah. Girl, how are you going to do that? Where are you going to get the money?
Where are you going to get the money?
Because the people live in poverty or low income or moderate income, right? And I learned through, one of the training programs I went through, Emerge Kentucky, that we don't need to put our hands in people's pockets. We ask them if they can give, and if they can give, they give.
Okay. All right. So you heard that. We're going to get into some more in-depth conversation. But right now, we have new author, Catrina Hill. She has been serving Louisville for many decades with her delicious food. She also has a seasoning line she's had for years, but now she has a book, and she's going to teach us how to cook like her. So welcome to the Real Talk with Tanya White show, Miss Catrina Hill.
Well, thank you.
Hello, Miss Catrina. Now I can still taste your greens from what I used to get all the time from Dinner Is Done. And so I'm hoping that in your book you have a recipe on how to make those greens, because I have not tasted. Oh, yes. Okay, before we get into the food, tell our audience who Catrina is and how she became one of the most dynamic cooks ever to grace this world.
Well, I moved to Louisville and I took a job. It was a job transfer, and a month after I got here, they announced that they were selling the company. So I had to find something else to do. They offered me to move to Baltimore with them, but I didn't want to. So, they say you got to do something that you like to do to make money.
Yes.
And I like to cook.
Well.
And so I was on my way to Wisconsin, going home, visiting, and I said, what could I do? I said, what would help people? And I said it would help people if dinner was done. And that's how I came up with the name of the restaurant.
Dinner? You came up with that name? That is wonderful. Because it was done. It was delicious. And it was just like an easy thing to do. Let me go, dinner's done because I don't feel like cooking. Wow. So you said you were transferred to Louisville based on a job. That company dissolved. And so you were like, okay, let me do something. So did dinner is done, was it like something that, okay, since the job is done, this is what I want to do, become an entrepreneur and I can do it? Or was it just temporary for you until something else happened?
Well, I come from a family of entrepreneurs.
Okay.
My grandparents, both my grandparents on both sides had grocery stores. My dad had a grocery store. So, I worked in that grocery store from the time I was 11 years old, and a lot of times my dad was in the hospital. So me and my 12-year-old sister, we used to stay in there and run that store. So we had knowledge. So I knew I could start a business, whatever kind of business I wanted to do.
See, you was playing.
I had that confidence.
You was playing, Catrina. You knew you should have been an entrepreneur before that company went in under. So you come from a line of entrepreneurs, so you know how to run a business, how to be successful in it. You started Dinner is Done. It was successful. Delicious. Like I say, I still taste those greens. Then you have the audacity, Miss Catrina, to have your own seasoning line. How did that come about?
Well, people kept coming in and asking me, will I make up something? Will you make up something that season that you put in the greens? When you make up the season for the chicken, can I have some? Can I buy this? I thought, you know what? If they want this stuff that bad, I'm going to package it.
Yes.
So I did some research. It took me 6 months from research to actually having my package done.
6 months.
And then 6 months.
Y'all heard that? A half a year. She did research, had the package done, and now you're in Kroger. Where else? Are you in Walmart yet?
Getting ready to be in Walmart in May.
See? What year was that when you first launched your seasoning line, Catrina?
Oh, Lord.
I know it's been some years.
Yeah, it's been some years. Actually, I can't really tell you off the top of my head.
At least 6 or 7.
I've been trying to get in Walmart for 8 years.
Okay.
8 years I've been trying to get into Walmart. And that just goes to tell you, you can't quit. You got to push on and push on and push on. And finally, I got a call from Walmart, and I went there. And let me tell you, I went in my scooter. My leg had surgery in my leg. I took that scooter and I went on down to Bentonville.
That's right.
Arkansas. And when I got there, they had asked me to sit up front, and I didn't know why. Me and 2 other companies, and they did a little presentation on us. And after that presentation, they told us these 3 companies are going to Walmart. So I didn't even have to get my presentation to try to get in there.
Because they already knew you.
But it took 8 years.
Yeah. They was watching you for those 8 years, though. But I want our audience to hear what you said. You researched, you put in the work, you were determined, and you didn't give up. You said you can't quit. And I know a great author named Tanya who wrote a book called You Can't Quit Now. So, Catrina, you are the model of what people aspire to be as business owners. Not only you started Dinner is Done, a restaurant. You transfer that and said, let me have my own seasoning. And I'm a publisher, and so I encourage, especially my African American people, to put their pictures on the front of their covers. So was that something that you came up with to put on your seasoning in your book, or did somebody have to persuade you to do so?
No, I came up with it.
See?
I figured I put the work in, and I'm going to go on and not somebody else.
Y'all see why she's Catrina Hill and you need to be in Catrina's kitchen? All right, so Catrina, now we finally have a cookbook. We had your seasoning. We tasted your food. Now you're going to teach us and empower us how to cook like you. So where did the concept to finally do a cookbook in Catrina's kitchen come from?
Honey, I've been working on this cookbook for years. I kept putting it down. And I kept putting it down. I talked to you about it.
Yep.
And I kept putting it down. And then when I got that call from Walmart, it lit a fire under me to make me finish it. Because I had all the basic stuff done already.
Yes.
So I just decided that, I was in the hospital. I got a hospital bed in one of my rooms in my house. I was laying in the bed. I was working. I was doing it while I was sick.
That's right.
You know?
Y'all heard what she said. She was working while she was sick and getting it done.
Yeah.
Now it is just released in November, correct?
Right.
And so what are some of the recipes that we can find in your book?
I'll tell you the first recipe in there, because everybody always asks me to cook it for holidays, is chicken and dumplings.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. So are your recipes easy to follow?
Yes, they are. They're very detailed. Very detailed. I did it for, I made sure the book was for a person that does not cook.
Like me. Because I want my dinner to be done, and I want it to be done deliciously. So I can pick up that book, and I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it for Christmas this Christmas, and try some recipes. So you got chicken and dumplings in there. What else? What are some more?
I got let's see, it's right in front of me. I got some beef liver and onions.
Oh yeah. Everybody don't know about that beef liver.
Fried chicken.
Okay.
And then my greens are called Ain't That It greens.
Ain't that? And if y'all had Catrina Hill's greens, y'all know why she called it Ain't That It? Because I can still taste them from when I used to get them from Dinner's Done. I know that was over 12 years ago. So
we've been knowing each other for about 25 years.
I know it. Yes, I know it. And I know even then when you had the restaurant, you did other events to outside the restaurant to build and encourage entrepreneurship. And so is that your goal as you continue to be a model in the food industry with your seasoning, with your cookbooks? What's next that we can look out for you?
Well, I already started gathering information for my second cookbook. So that's what I'm doing next. And actually I want to do book tours.
Yes. Will they be like live cooking shows? Like you'll cook? Will you cook a dish when you do these tours?
I'm not sure yet. I've never did it. I'm researching.
Okay.
How to do it, and and I'm gonna do the tours where the people are there already.
Absolutely.
A group is there. That's the best way to do it.
Absolutely. Where you could just walk in. All right. So where can we get In Catrina's Kitchen, your book?
Well, you can get it online actually.
Okay.
Order it online, and we'll send it to you.
Okay.
And you go to InCatrinaskitchen.com.
InCatrinaskitchen.com. Y'all hear that? In Catrina. And Catrina is spelled Catrina. In Catrina's Kitchen.
Put an S on that. In Catrina's Kitchen.
Put an S on .com. All right. Mm-hmm. So Miss Catrina, as you continue to be a successful entrepreneur, you're teaching your kids, you're leaving a legacy. And shout out to my Sayans, who's your daughter, Carinta of Delta Sigma Theta. What can you leave our audience with? Who some people, they're in the food industry, and that's a tough industry to be successful in. Some people have other industries, but there's some basic business foundations. Give us 3 that you can leave our audience with about sustainable success.
Well, stay away from the naysayers.
Ooh, y'all heard that? Stay away from the naysayers.
Do a business plan. Because when you do a business plan, you end up changing things.
Yes.
You think you're going to do one thing, but after you do a business plan, sometimes it's totally different. So it's important to do a business plan and follow it. And follow. One thing about Louisville, it's so many resources for you to be in business.
Absolutely. Do a plan. Stop listening to the naysayers.
And don't quit.
And don't quit. Miss Catrina Hill, thank you so much. Give us your contact information. How can people follow you on social media? And all that great stuff.
Well, Catrina's Kitchen has a Facebook page and what's the other one? The Instagram. So we're all over Catrinaskitchen.com. And like I said, you can order the book at InCatrinaskitchen.com.
InCatrinaskitchen.com. Y'all better get that book so y'all can cook like Miss Catrina. I'm telling you, your family will be blessed. Thank you so much for calling, Miss Catrina. Continue success, continue to heal, and we will follow up with you and maybe have you in studio and give us step by step on how to cook some of these delicious meals.
Okay, thank you for having me.
All right, Merry Christmas. If you just joined Real Talk with Tanya White, that was Miss Catrina Hill, Louisville entrepreneur. She has a new book out in Catrina's Kitchen. She also has seasonings, and she was dealing with food. If you ever tasted Dinner's Done, you know that she can cook. But today we're talking about Real Talk about politics in Louisville, Kentucky, and we have Attica Scott. Attica, where's your fish, Tamika?
Listen.
She's supposed to be here.
Listen, I'm sure she's on her way.
She on her way. Get over here, Shamika. We got to talk to you. But back to our conversation. Miss Attica grew up in Beecher Terrace.
Yes.
Got into politics, political science. Somebody said, you are the one. And when they tell you you're the one and they have support behind you, you have to have in your mind that, hey, I can do this.
Right.
What changes did you have to do? Because, growing up in Beecher Terrace, even though you come from our families, instilling us confidence, our environment sometimes dampens our spirit. What are some things that you have to overcome to be focused and know that you can do that?
Thank you.
Because, I used to teach over in that area, and I know the things that you had to pour into kids.
Yes.
So what are some things that you had to change?
Well, I had to tell myself that everything didn't have to be about money, right?
Yes.
Because when you grow up in poverty, you're constantly thinking you have to consume, get, right? And that wasn't the case.
Okay.
And I had to convince myself of that because I'd always looked at politicians as these wealthy people. A lot of them are.
Absolutely.
I don't want to act like they're not, right? A lot of them are. But I also had to overcome this idea that I couldn't do it because I was a Black woman. Right.
Y'all hear that? You have to do what, Miss Attica?
I had to overcome this idea that I couldn't do it because I'm a Black woman.
Because that's what society tells us all the time. We're supposed to stay in our little places, and you're supposed to do what I tell you to do. And when I tell you get out that box I put in there, then you can get out. But then you better go back when I tell you.
Yes.
So you have to tell yourself that you could do it as a Black woman.
Yes, I did.
And you was probably one of a very limited crew when you was saying, oh, I want to run.
Yes.
I want to run. And so tell me about that journey. You have to tell yourself, okay, I can do it. What's next?
And then I had to tell other people I could do it. Right?
Yes. How did you convince the other people?
Well, I listened to what Miss Catrina just said.
Yes.
And part of it is not listening to the naysayers, right? I'm going to go over here to the folks who are open.
Find your tribe.
Find your tribe, the people who are willing, the people who are ready.
Yes.
Right? Because not everybody's ready. So you got to find the ones who are ready.
Let that sink in, y'all. Not everybody's ready for you. And but you can't let that deter you.
You cannot, and not everybody's ready for a Black woman. Right? So we've
I
seen
know
it
that's
time and
right.
time. Listen, look what happened to Stacey Abrams.
Listen.
There's no reason why she shouldn't be governor-elect right now. But that's
okay, so you brought that up, Attica. I'm trying to have a real talk conversation. Yeah. I'm trying to be nice. And I was going to wait for that for Women's Month. But let's just dig right into that. Stacey has done makes tremendous strides, and helped a lot of people.
Yes.
And being a Black woman, she said, like, she probably went through the same process, believing that she could do it, having the support.
Yes.
But then getting on another level when you said everybody ain't ready for a Black woman.
Yes.
So, if you could talk to Stacey, because I know it was disheartening. When I tell you my whole spirit sunk, because I just knew it was going to happen this time. I just knew it. What would you tell Miss Stacey Abrams?
We got you, sis.
We got you.
We got you. A loss is a loss, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's over.
The battle ain't over.
Hey, so God might have you call for something else, right? You tried this a couple of times. The systems, the structures were set up against you. All this weight of media, mainstream media coming down on you, trying to claim Black people didn't support you.
Yeah.
Right, especially Black men.
Yeah.
But what did Black men do? They said, we love you, sis, and we got you. So they're going to get you next time if you decide to do something else. Yeah. And we're with you.
And go back to listening to the naysayers. You cannot listen to them. And you got to find your tribe.
Yes.
And then work that and build that. And even though you may lose what you thought, you have to regroup.
Yes.
And say, you know what? I'm still going to do what I'm called to do. And let me figure out what the next step is. Now, with your run in politics, what was the first political office that you ran for, whether it's in college or whatever? Because I know you just didn't step out of nowhere and say, I'm going to run.
That's right. I actually first ran for office, in high school.
Okay.
The thing is, my mother passed away the morning I was supposed to give my speech. And I went to school anyway, because, I'm 16. What do I know? So
wow.
I go to school, I get up on stage, try to give the speech, and break down.
Lord,
break down in tears. Couldn't give the speech.
So you had tenacity. Because that's a big, huge feat to do. Your mother just died.
Yeah.
You 16.
Yes.
My mother died when I was 35, and I acted like the baby. So I can imagine at 16 the overwhelming of emotions. And you going to what high school did you go to? Manual. Okay. So you now understand. Okay, you had to do it,
right?
Because if you didn't show up, that could have been like a negative check, regardless of what was going on.
That's
so
right.
for you to show up and then for you to break down on stage, how did you knock yourself for showing emotion?
No.
Okay.
No, because my mother just passed away. Then my best friend, Sharonda, who's now a JCPS teacher, she's a librarian, just came up to me, put her arms around me, held me. She said, "What's wrong? What happened?" And I told her, she broke down with me.
So you're going on stage. You ain't told nobody that what happened to you. And that's real. And that's why when I was in Jefferson County Public School, I had to look beyond what was going on. And I had to dig deep. And so you didn't tell anybody what was going on until your friend came up to you.
That's right.
And so after that, what happened?
And so after that, we struggled through the rest of the day, right? You do what you do. I didn't talk to anybody about it. I didn't feel like it was anybody's business, right? This was my grief that I needed to deal with the way that I could at 16, the best that I could. And then went home and began the whole process of, I'm 16 and now I got to go to California where my mother lived and I got to help bury my mother.
16 years old. Not even adult. Okay, so after high school, you go to college.
HBCU.
What college?
Knoxville College, East
Tennessee. Major in political science. Yes. Were you active on campus?
I was very active. We revived the student newspaper. It had been dead for 19 years, and I became the editor of the student newspaper, and I was just writing about everything that was going on. I was a work study student in the president's office, because remember, I grew up in poverty, so I was a work study student in the president's office. So I was getting all the tea.
Absolutely. And then you was an editor, which gave you the power to see what was going to go in the newspaper. Yes. Okay, so you're very active. HBCU.
Yes.
Do you believe that really gave you the confidence that you needed for your future runs for office?
Oh, I know it did, because at an HBCU, I had professors who poured everything into me, and they demanded success.
See,
right? They didn't put up with anything less.
Yeah,
and so I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, it's a different mindset.
It is.
It's a different mindset. So Knoxville, what did you run for? What office?
So in Knoxville, I actually helped a friend of mine run for office.
Okay,
somebody I graduated from college with. He became one of the youngest city council members. Yeah, he defeated a 30-plus year incumbent.
See?
And we did the work and got him in office. That's the first campaign I ever worked on.
The first campaign. So did that give you the political bug after that?
It did, because I was like, okay, all right, let's do some more of this. Let's help out some other folks. So when I moved back home to Louisville, I was supporting other people on their campaigns. And it was really important to me, in particular, to support the few Black women who were running for office, because there aren't many of us. We are constantly told, wait our turn, wait our time. And sometimes that time and that turn never comes.
Wait our turn is not your time. I've heard that. Or when I was, applying for principalship and didn't get it. And the cliches, oh, God has something better. And you like, this was it.
Right.
I know this was it. I killed it. And so when did you defy those words? It's not your turn. It's not your time. Oh, something better. When did you defy that and say, no, I know it's my time and I'm going to keep doing. Like Stacey, we know her time and turn. It was now.
That's right.
And like our friend Charles Booker as well.
Yes.
We talk about that, the systems. And so what do you do to defy that negative those negative emotions that are going through your mind to keep going?
You do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
Because if you wait, you will never have that opportunity. And when I look at Stacey's run, when I look at my run for Congress, we weren't doing it for ourselves. We were doing it for all the people who never thought that they would ever be able to do it. So they lifted us up. They held us up. And it was our responsibility to show up for them.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to talk about Shamika, even though she's not here.
Yes.
Shamika. But she did an audacious run
yes,
for Louisville mayor.
Yes, she did.
and did well in the primary. Let's talk about that.
That's
if
right.
you look at the numbers. That's right. Numbers don't lie. Men and women do. Numbers don't.
That's right.
And so when you talk about a lot of society doesn't encourage women, especially black women, to run for office. You having the experience now, what would you tell the next generation to make that, make that a first choice? Don't believe what people say. Don't wait your turn and your time if it's a burning situation in you. What advice would you give them?
I would tell them, run for office. Get into a training program that exists. There are training programs for young people, black people, other people of color, women. Get into those training programs. Learn the dynamics of it. Build your tribe, as you said, before you run for office. Get involved in your community, your neighborhood, because people want to see someone that they were like, oh, yeah, I saw her at the neighborhood association meeting. Absolutely. I saw him at the business association meeting. Get involved now. And again, like Miss Catrina said, ignore the naysayers. Yeah. Sometimes the naysayers are people who didn't see themselves doing it, so they don't want to see you doing it.
Absolutely. And it's a repeated cycle of dysfunction.
Yes.
And so you have to step out. So let's talk about your run for U.S. Congress this year. And we had a lot of women running, doing audacious things this year. So What put in your mind, okay, it's time for me to step outside of just the Kentucky legislator and let me do the big girl run?
I love your term audacious.
Oh, because that's what y'all are.
I mean, but that's what we did. We did audacious big things.
Yes.
Because it was important to show up at the local level, important to show up at the state level, and then you look at the national level, and it's all white men from Kentucky representing us.
Yeah.
Well, Tanya, you deserve to have somebody looking like you representing you in D.C., right?
Absolutely.
So, listen, as I was being encouraged by young people to run, I said, well, yes, because these are young people who are saying they don't feel represented. When I look at Newburgh, Shively, the West End, who all voted overwhelmingly for me for Congress in the primary, they deserve somebody who was going to fight for them, who understood their issues. And going up against all the odds didn't matter to me. That wasn't important to me. What was I knew, a black girl at Foster Elementary School was going to see me when I showed up for principal for a day and say, she ran to represent me.
Absolutely. And that is really seeing us and say, oh, it's possible. And said, and that little girl said, Representative Attica Scott came to my school and was principal for a day. So I love what you talk about, get involved. And so, I wasn't going to go here, but
let's go.
Kentucky.
Yes.
And I'm writing a book right now about Kentucky and the diversity that we talk about but we don't see. How is it at the state level when Attica walks the halls of the state, or Attica is sitting in meetings and wanting not just the black voice to be heard, but I believe as black people, we are all inclusive. And when we speak and advocate, we're advocating for everybody. What is a day like for you?
Well, let me start by saying that me walking the halls of Frankfort led Frankfort to cut me out of my own district.
Oh.
So even if I was going to run for re-election, District 41 no longer exists as we knew it. Well, so we can come back to that. But it was powerful for me and emotional every time I went to our state capitol because I knew what I was bringing with me. Yeah. Right? Not everybody carries that same experience. A lot of my colleagues, I would look at them and they were bringing themselves.
Yes.
And their own ambition. I was bringing up my people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was different for me.
And let me go back to how you got there. Were you the first?
I was the first black woman in almost 20 years to be elected to the state legislature.
To be elected.
And then I walked up in there, Tanya, with natural hair.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Natural hair, and that you passed down to your daughter, and they tried to, tell her she couldn't wear hers at Butler High School. I remember that. And so you passed down that voice, that drive to your children as well. Yes. And so other children are seeing that. So you're walking the halls of Kentucky, the bluegrass state, with your natural hair, your melanin popping, and you're sitting in some of these committee meetings. What are some of the barriers? Because we celebrate when black people, especially black women, overcome and become the first. There's a book called The First and Only by Jennifer Farmer that I'm reading. It's very powerful. And talking about, it's okay to be the first. Okay to achieve that obstacle. But you don't feel welcome.
Mm-hmm.
You feel excluded at that table. Mm-hmm. That they say diversity is welcome.
Yes.
But you're not welcome.
That's right.
What are some of the barriers that you had to overcome, especially in your first year?
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's part of the barrier is that there are certain kind of Black people who are welcome.
Oh,
right.
This is real talk.
You said real talk with Tanya White.
Y'all, she's my Aunt Jackie's friend. So y'all, I know the real Attica. Yes. We're trying to be nice, but go ahead, Attica.
Yeah, I'm be nice. It's early, so I'm gonna be nice. But the reality is, there are certain kind of Black people, right, that are welcome in these political spaces, right? Yeah. And so my kind of Black person who grew up in the hood, grew up in the projects, came up there with my natural hair, my melanin popping, wasn't necessarily the kind of Black person who was welcome, especially when I opened my mouth. Yeah. And that was just fine because I wasn't there for them. I was there so I can go back home and face my people and look them in the eye and say, I fought for you, 10 toes down, right? Yeah. And so what that meant is that I had to stand up and speak up often about issues that matter to us. Yeah. And that there
Did you get tired having to speak up?
Exhausted.
Don't y'all understand? And it's like sometimes, okay, it's like you setting these policies. We want all inclusive and reading the policies, diversity, but then you're in meetings having to say the same thing over and over. I know I was exhausted when I was a school administrator. Having to advocate and fight for what was already written, but wasn't in action.
Well, so people want diversity, equity, and inclusion, but they don't want to dismantle racism.
Listen.
That's different.
Listen.
That's different. And we don't talk about it.
No, listen. What they call it, DEI, is where you go to die if you're a Black person.
Well, there you go.
That's coming up in my latest book. Y'all, we'll talk about that. But diversity, equity, and inclusion is just like a cliche now.
It is.
Especially from Black people.
Yes.
I see it all the time. I'm a diversity inclusion specialist. I'm like, but what are you doing for the organization but being in the department? Yes. So you are diversity, equity, and inclusion in action at the Kentucky level. Yes. So let's get to the real. Okay. Kentucky, especially when it comes to Louisville, the urban city. What are some things that you know it needs to definitely change for Louisville to really be on the progressive and authentic growth for everybody is welcome?
Well, what I've learned about Louisville is we misname it liberal Louisville. It's the moderate metro. Louisville is not actually liberal, y'all. Yeah. When we saw it in 2020, when we were fighting for justice and police accountability, and we see it today. Well, right, when they're talking about building a new $300 to $400 million mega jail facility.
Mega jail. Right. And we've got to fight for a new school.
And we have got to fight for a new school. Right. So Louisville's got its own work to do. At the state level, we have to make sure that people are being elected from across Kentucky who are not after Louisville because it has the most Black people in the Commonwealth. That's why they're really after us. But we don't say that because too many of our own so-called liberal, or I choose to be part of the Democratic Party, Democratic white people don't want to say those truths. Woo. Right? The legislature wouldn't be coming after Louisville if it didn't have the most Black people of any part of the Commonwealth. They wouldn't care.
Covert Jim Crow. That's what it is. Yeah. And y'all will hear more about that in the upcoming project. So, coming after Louisville's really not liberal. Yes. Moderate. What are some other things that definitely, as Black people, talk to the Black people, because we march, we know the issues, but what is it going to take to really have change to impact at the state level?
Yes. So Black people, I go all across this state, and I'm very grateful to everybody, whether it's Estill County, whether it's Mayfield, Kentucky, East, West, wherever it is, people invite me to show up to say the very same things I'm saying to you, Tanya, because they're hungry and thirsty for something different that they're not getting. What we need to do differently is we need to run everywhere. And if we don't want to run in Clay County, we need to support somebody else who's going to run in Clay County. We don't need to cede anything. We don't need to give up anything. We have the right to everything. Right. We have the right to thrive. We have the right to march to our state capitol on every issue. Everyone. Just like when people from Injustice Square Park came to Frankfort in 2020 to march and to rally for a no-knock warrants bill because they wanted the real deal. Yeah. We have the right to do that. We got to do more of that, Kentucky. Yeah. The last time we had a really big Black gathering in our state capitol, Dr. King was still alive.
Oh, wow. Did y'all hear that? Oh, wow. And he died in 1968.
Well.
Okay. And so this is why I hear you saying we have what it takes.
Yes, we do.
But like you said, the no-knock warrants, it's not over just because we got one victory. Mm-hmm. We have to keep the momentum and keep our presence out there. Yes. Especially in the little counties in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And so going back to that mindset, if you are African American in a Clay County, in a Henry County, you have to have a mindset that, okay, I'm the first. Yes. I'm going to probably be the only for a while. Mm-hmm. And I have to, like you said, make the people know that I'm the best choice. Yes. So how does one talk to somebody in that small county, a little African American boy or girl, who says, I really want to run, but I don't see anybody who looks like me, so I don't know what to expect. Mm-hmm. What would you say to that person, that little boy?
Reach out to somebody who does look like you, who's in the space you want to be in. Mm-hmm. We had a black mayor in E-Town. Reach out to the black mayors, the black people who are in the positions you want to be in, and ask them the questions. Mm-hmm. Ask them the hows and the whys and the what fors and how did you do it, and ask them to support you.
Ask. My daddy used to say the question's always going to be answers are always going to be no if you don't ask. Well, so you got to ask. Get out there and talk. Yeah. So let's get to some deep conversations about the state of where we are, not only in Louisville, not only in Kentucky, but in our world, because we're just coming off of healing from a very awful presidential leadership. We're still feeling the ramifications, and yes, we have a black woman as vice president. We do have that, but still. The system, we talk about the system that is set up for us to fail. Do you think, because I'm very much into history and my daddy was a political science major, so we had to read, we had to hear all the stories. So of course I'm watching documentaries when I'm 8 about civil rights movement. Do you think in 2022, almost 2023, are we better off than we were in 1960?
See, that's a hard question for me because I believe it's relative, right? Everything has changed shifted since 1960. Change is a big word. It's shifted since 1960. What I would say for us today is that we're not where we could or should be.
We're not where we could or should be. I agree with that. We should not be having first in 2022. No. We had Yvette, the judge-elect, and I was dumbfounded that she said she was the first elected Latina in 2022 to district court. And I'm like, are you serious? And I'm like, are you serious? But having that first even now in 2022 is like, I celebrate it, but it's still disheartening. So I agree with you. We've made strides, but we're not where we should be. How can we be where we need to be 10 years from now?
How can we be where we need to be 10 years from now? We need to authentically support one another. We still have this crabs in a bucket mentality that we have got to do away with. We have got to support one another because what's happening is the people who don't want to see us thrive are picking us apart. Pulling us apart, right? Because they see it. They're like, "Oh, I love it. This one don't like this one. Don't get along with that one. Well, I'm gonna jump right in there and I'm gonna divide and conquer." And we contribute to that. Yeah. And we shouldn't do that. We should support one another because there are so few of us who are being audacious, as you say, right? And the ones who are being audacious are the ones that we need to get behind and lift you up. Say, sis, I got you. Right? You do the hard work that I know I don't want to do. Right. Because I don't want to be in those places and spaces, but you do. So I'm willing to help send you there and support you when you get there.
Absolutely. And when you get a seat at the table, you can't forget. Like you're saying, that is for real. That the system, the racist system, covertly knows how to divide and conquer. And you're thinking, and you will read about this in my upcoming, you're thinking that they're celebrating you and they are behind you, pulling somebody down, doing things to tear and traumatize people. But when you're in that seat, you got to remember, first of all, what your purpose is. And you're not there for yourself. Like, I love what you said. I wasn't there for just me. I was there for everybody. And so when we get in these seats, we cannot forget why we're there.
That's right.
And we have to get out of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And know that, okay, I'm setting paths. I'm making and blazing trails for the next.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes a level of self-awareness to know that, hey, it's not about me. Mm-hmm. I've got to make change. And I got to speak truth to power sometimes, which when it comes to some seats, you kind of cow down. But when you speak truth to power, you might get the backlash. But when we look at the greater good, it helps. So how have you spoken truth to power? We know, we see you, we feel the effects of Attica Scott being in Kentucky and walking those halls with melanin popping. But what successes are you proud of that you have made since being elected to the state legislator?
Oh, one of our biggest is that we know the state legislature didn't pass the Crown Act.
Yeah.
In fact, the Speaker of the House lied to young people, the real young prodigies this year, and he told them the bill would be heard on the House floor. It passed the committee with only one no vote. Should have been heard on the House floor. We needed 51 votes to get it passed on the floor. We had 55. Could have passed and sent it on to the Senate. But anyway, neither here nor there. But it was the movement we built that got Covington, Kentucky to pass it unanimously. It's the movement we built that got Louisville to pass it unanimously. And now we have other cities across Kentucky looking at passing Crown Act legislation to protect people from discrimination based on their natural hair. So we built a political and policy movement. And so while we couldn't get that policy passed at the state level, we sparked people's energy to do that work locally, which is how it should be, right?
Absolutely.
Don't always depend on the state. Do your local work.
Yeah, because the state, we're in Kentucky, 2 Ks, one short of another K. We're in Kentucky, and sometimes we have to, just like you said, we got to celebrate and say, okay, you're not going to accept it. Let me go to the city. So you said Covington was the first.
Yes.
And then Louisville got on board.
Yes.
And so just the other cities need to get on board. So thank you for that. And that started with your daughter, right?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
How is she feeling? Is she going to be a political giant too?
She's not interested in politics because
really?
she's seen, not being in office because she's seen what I've gone through. Yeah. She wants to be behind the scenes telling politicians what to do.
That's okay. Okay.
That's her energy.
Olivia Popin.
Yes.
Olivia Popin. All right. So what's next for Attica? Our time is quickly, Johnny.
Yes,
what's next before our time goes out? What's next for Attica in 2023 in the state Kentucky legislature? What is your focus?
Well, I will not be going back to the state legislature because you can only run for one office at a time in Kentucky. Okay. And so this is my last month in office. So you have honored me by making me your guest in this last month that I'm in office.
Oh, Lord. Attica, what you gonna do?
I know.
What we gonna do?
I know. But listen, we got work to do. And we gotta band together to do that work.
So is it only a Kentucky thing?
No, there are other states that like that. Yeah. People might recall when Rand Paul wanted to run for president in 2016, the issue was that he couldn't run for Senate and president at the same time. Okay. Yes. Okay.
So what's next for Attica?
Well, so I'm digging into my full-time work. Shifted gears a couple of years ago. I'm now working for an organization that supports people who have been incarcerated, are working to get their rights restored, doing a lot of work with the Poor People's Campaign. So I'm very excited about that work because it has impact and meaning and makes a difference in people's lives. Okay. I'm going to still be involved politically,
absolutely. Right? Okay. That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. So we're going to see you more in Louisville.
You will see me more in Louisville.
And make it a little impact. Yes. So any plans to run again for federal?
Not in 2020. In 2023, I will not be running for anything. I will be supporting other people, particularly, and I'm clear about this, particularly Black women and other women of color running for office because systems and structures are set up against us, so we can't do it. So that's where my focus will be in 2023.
2023. Okay. So, Attica Scott's no longer in Kentucky. Legislator, it broke my heart, but she's going to be doing greater things. So we come to the segment of the show, 5 Fun Facts. Okay. We know Attica is the political giant. Now we want to know some fun things about Attica. So what is your favorite movie?
Favorite movie.
Don't think about two.
Okay, I'm going to say The Woman King.
The Woman King, yes. So many deep, political, systematic. dismantling in that movie. Y'all better go see The Woman King. Viola Davis is on my people to interview. She's magnificent. So The Woman King, what is your favorite place to vacation?
Let's see. Favorite. I loved going to Costa Rica.
Okay, Costa Rica. Favorite snack when you're chilling at home watching The Woman King?
Popcorn.
Popcorn. Kettle corn or just butter?
Just butter.
Okay, just butter. Celebrity crush.
Oh gosh. Okay. It used to be Denzel.
Yeah.
Who is it now? Who would be my crush now? Ooh. I don't know. I don't know.
Attica doesn't have a celebrity crush. So
It's probably because it's not just one.
I have many. Oh, all right. So and one other. Living or alive, who is the one person that you said, hey, I would love to talk to inspire me to take me to my next level?
Harriet Tubman, honey, we could have freed them all.
You see how quick she said it? Harriet.
All. But not everybody wants to be free. Harriet, how you do it? How did you do it?
How did you get people to say, come with me through this underground? That is, how did you do it? How did you get people to do it? Harriet. That's great. So, Attica, thank you so much for coming on Real Talk. Before you go, one or two nuggets of wisdom share with our audience for the upcoming year. 2023, a lot going on. Not a major election, but it's the building the groundwork for 2024, which when we'll vote for president, we'll vote for other things. What do you want to leave us with?
Maintain your peace through it all. Maintain your peace. I'm going to be maintaining my political peace. Maintain your personal peace, because through it all, that is what you're going to have to be able to make it, right? To make it every single day, regardless of who's in office. You're going to need to have your peace so you can show up in whatever way you need to for yourself and for others. Listen, that's real talk. Maintain your peace. Get rid of those peace snatchers. Be intentional about that, because what you said, you have to maintain your peace so you can show up and show out. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas, Attica. Christmas. Thank you for the talk. Listen, we will be back. I can't believe next Tuesday is the end of 2022, but it's December 27th. We will be back live, and that is my birthday week, so I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm accepting all gifts. All right, Bob, remember, you got 7 days. Vinny, you got 7 days to go get Tanya White a gift. Listen, remember the nuggets of wisdom that was shared on today's show. Catrina Hill said, listen, stop listening to the naysayers. Attica just told us to protect your peace. Listen, the peace that surpasses all understanding, you better protect it. So, have a Merry Christmas. Eat, overindulge. Love on your family, because today is not promised to everybody. So love on people today. And remember the reason for the season. We're going to close out with It's Christmas All Over the World by New Edition, because that is my group. Kick us out of here, Bob. That was so good.
Thank you. I did not know you was...
They cut me out of my district.
Oh, my God. I'm going to have to have you back for Black History Month.
Yes.
You, Jackie, and Shamika.
Yes. Because, we went from 3 state representatives in the West End. Now we only have 2. Because they were like, we're going to get rid of her.
That's for real. That's for real. What she told you?
I mean, whether people like it or not, I got to speak it.
Listen. Protect your peace. Thank y'all for tuning in.